Today I'm talking fat burners and 5 fat burners that actually work. Now there's a lot of products out there that have a lot of claims that don't do a lot or actually can harm you because of the quality of the products. But there's actually 5 natural ones that work, and we're going through them today. Now, I'm far away from home. I'm actually doing a training, and speaking of fat, I guess this is fitting, we're doing fat transfer. I'm working with a plastic surgeon locally here. So let's see if you can guess where I'm at today. I'm going to give you tips along the way and you can see where I'm at. It took me 3 flights to get here. All 3 were delayed. It's early morning. I'm going to make this video. The weather here, this is very typical of this area. Now, when we're talking fat burners, people cannot substitute a good diet, sleep, activity, and exercise, but these 5 are definitely worth knowing about. Let's dive into this video, and your first clue therefore will be the weather and maybe the topography. By the way, that's the ocean back there. I'll give you a view in a moment. Number 5, we'll count them down today. Number 5 is caffeine, and you can get caffeine. A lot of people like their morning coffee. And in fact, one of the hints in this video will be a coffee store I'll take you to later. But caffeine found in coffee. A lot of people, I know you guys like green tea, and it can be found in cocoa. Now, the problem with caffeine, we'll start with the issue with it, is it can affect sleep. And poor sleep leads to obesity. So you want to drink your caffeine in the morning. A lot of people go for dark roasts, but the reality is you want to go for your lighter roasts. Now, you have to limit your caffeine intake to about 400 milligrams per day. I like 1 to 2 cups of coffee. So how much caffeine is in a cup of coffee? Well, typically about 100 milligrams in a 12-ounce cup of drip coffee. Now, if you're grinding your beans and you want it even stronger, take the extra time and make them extra fine. And I know some of you double brew your drip coffee. Let me know on the comments below how you make it. And you don't want to add cream to it. I think this is a mistake a lot of people make. Some do add collagen powder, but you want to avoid a lot of cream. And if you do take cream, I take a little bit of organic cream. But caffeine has been shown to boost your metabolism within 1 to 2 hours after drinking it by about 16%. So when we're talking about caffeine, we're talking about the thermic effect of caffeine. And look here, caffeinated coffee increased energy expenditure by 16% over a 1 to 2 hour period compared with decaffeinated coffee. So that's just one of the studies talking about the thermogenic or the fat burning effect of caffeine. Now, it does work better in people who are more thin. So if someone has gross obesity, unfortunately caffeine doesn't work as well in those people. By the way, check these cliffs out here. Pretty amazing. When I was a kid, we used to drive our dirt bikes all along these cliffs. Check this out over there. The odd time one of us would go over. And we had some tragedies, but you can see the narrow path. It was a little wider when we were kids, but you can see over there that cliff. When you went over the cliff and your buddies would try and race you and they'd be beside you, and we never really wore helmets a lot. So, but gorgeous. Now, number 4 is green tea extract. Not green tea, but the extract. And you want to think of the extract as a very concentrated form of green tea with the benefits basically supercharged. What are they? Well, green tea, of course, has caffeine, and we talked about that. That's important. But it also has something called catechins, and very specific ones that help boost metabolism. And it actually works by increasing something called thermogenesis. Just what you might think, by increasing the heat, the body's production of heat, and thermogenesis, you end up burning more calories. So green tea, of course, is packed with antioxidants, but the green tea extract itself is very, very valuable for fat burning through several mechanisms. Here's a review article in the Obesity Review, the effects of catechin-rich teas and caffeine on energy expenditure and fat oxidation. Here's a meta-analysis. Relative to placebo, treatment with green tea extract resulted in significant increase in the 24-hour energy expenditure. In my green tea extract fat burner, I also add green tea coffee bean, caffeine, and Garcinia. So here's another clue. Check that boat coming in. That's a lobster boat. I had a summer job. You'd have to wake up at 3 to catch that boat. You'd come in right about now. It's 9 a.m. and you come in on that boat. Now you would have eaten lobster out there at about 5, 6 in the morning. You get hungry. It's this kind of this love-hate relationship of being a little bit nauseated because you're out there at like 4 or 5 in the morning in the seas, and then of course you're starved, but yet there's lobster on the boat. No butter, no dips, you just eat it, throw it in the pot and eat it. But there you go. Check out, this is a beautiful harbor. Here, check this out. There's some lobster traps right behind me. Don't know, can you see that? Every house would have lobster traps. There's another boat coming in, check that out. What do you think? I'm gonna go down, talk to the boys, grab a couple lobster for tonight. Now number 3, let's talk fiber. So there's 2 main types, soluble and insoluble. You want to think about soluble, and what that means is it's going to absorb water. That's important because it increases satiety or the feeling of fullness. It also delays the absorption of nutrients into the body, and that slows down your digestion as well. There are also hormone-like effects with this. So ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone that a lot of people call it, that will increase that. Now it also increases your GLP-1. Again, you're familiar with that with drugs like Ozempic or semaglutide. And what this does, again, makes you feel fuller. It makes you want to eat less. But there's also likely an effect on the brain that we don't yet fully understand. But all good things to help reduce weight. So fiber is important. You just need to eat the right one. Another hint here, they did a lot of mining, especially back in the day. And that's a memorial to the miners. When I grew up, we would go down to the mines more so for fun, but mining was still active. It was very scary down there, and there were many tragedies when I grew up. We lost a lot of people, and a lot of my buddies and their friends' dads never came home. And there's a nice memorial. So that gives you another hint to where I'm at today. Number 2, and this is counterintuitive to some, is protein powder. Now, a lot of people have trouble taking enough protein. I think that's one of the problems, but there are studies, in fact, to back up. One of the things that protein powder does is it increases GLP-1, it increases CCY, and these you'll be familiar with because it's exactly what Ozempic does. Now when we're talking protein, check this out. A high protein diet for reducing body fat, mechanisms and possible caveats. But look at this here. High protein diets are increasingly popularized in the lay media as promising a strategy for weight loss by providing, look at this, twin benefits: improving satiety, so the feeling that you're full, and decreasing fat mass, what we're kind of interested in here. Some of the potential mechanisms that account for weight loss associated with the high protein diets involved increased secretion, here we go, of satiety hormones. Which ones? Look at GLP-1. Keep that in mind. Let me show you one more thing that's going to blow your mind. Now check this out. Ozempic. Now you know that's the $1 billion Hollywood drug that everyone is on, that people are upset about because it's a diabetic drug. They found out it works for weight loss, but check this out. And it works dramatically for weight loss. Ozempic, similar to Wegovy, some of you guys know semaglutide, acts as a GLP-1 receptor agonist that selectively binds to and activates the GLP-1 receptor. So this didn't come out of nowhere, but when you get it and you study it, you now have a multi-million-dollar industry. Then you give it to the celebrities and everyone wants it. But as you saw, protein does the same thing. So these natural treatments, although not studied to the tune of billions of dollars, they absolutely can work amazingly well, and they have the same pathway. Fancy that. Protein increases satiety, so it makes you feel fuller for longer. Now the RDA, the recommended daily allowance of protein powder, is 0.8 milligrams per kilogram, but that's really going to depend on your activity levels, on how much you're burning, your sleep, your exercise, and your overall diet. However, those taking supplements, you want to think about 25 to 50 grams of protein per day. Now that's of course going to depend on your activity levels, your sleep, your exercise, how much you're burning, and of course your overall body mass. But a couple scoops is usually going to give you about 50 grams of protein, and that should be sufficient. You need to pay attention to your protein to lose weight. If it's counterintuitive, you want to use this video to reassure you protein's key. And that's why you see many protein bars high in protein. Number 1. Finally, we have yohimbine. Now, many of you know this because it's a well-known aphrodisiac. So how is this going to burn fat? Well, it's an alpha-2 adrenergic blocker. So essentially, it keeps your body in a state of adrenaline, of high energy, a high energy state, and that of course promotes fat burning. Now, you got to be careful with this one because so does caffeine. Caffeine revs up the body, and you got to be careful, especially if you combine these two and you want to have your doses correct. But yohimbine works by doing that, and there is a study on yohimbine and fat reduction. So it keeps the body basically in a state of being revved up, fight or flight. There are some side effects to this one because you might get a little bit of anxiety, nausea, vomiting, but overall, in the right dose, in the right combination, it's very well tolerated, and many use it for fat burning. Here's a little hint right here. That's where you get your morning coffee. And if that doesn't give you a clue, check out way back there, Canadian Tire. Now, if your mom took you to Canadian Tire, there was a chance you were getting a new hockey stick. That was an exciting day. So now you can guess where I am in the world from all those clues. What do you think? Stay tuned here. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.